Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA. Today myself and Luke are going to be doing a review of the Offaly versus Cork match which took place in the Allianz Hurling League Round 2. Cork winning away in Offaly in St Brendan's Park in Bear by 4-25 to Offaly's 1-15. Not the greatest start for Offaly, 2 defeats from 2 on their return to Division 1 League Hurling, but for Cork 2 wins from 2. They beat Clare in the opening round relatively comfortably, and they have beaten Offaly really easily, in my opinion here. Good start for Kieran Kingston and for Cork. For Offaly, I mean, I wouldn't have expected them to win either of their first 2 games, but has it gone even worse than we thought it might have?
Yeah, well, look, they haven't really been competitive in either game, really. They got 2 heavy enough beaten. So, yeah, I think it is disappointing from Offaly. I think a lot of people were eyeing them up as the early favourites for Joe McDonough this year. So, I know they're missing a few players and stuff like that as well, but it's not gone very well so far from Offaly. And I think some people are maybe questioning if it's a year too soon for Division 1. But we'll see how they kind of progress as the competition goes on. They're very unlucky the fact that they had to play Galway and Cork in the first 2 games, and that 2 teams that were fairly ready, I think, for this competition. And had been prepared an awful lot to be ready for it. So, a pretty disaster start, I think, for Offaly. But look, they can take a lot from these games, and they just keep building kind of complementary pieces. Like, it was interesting to see some of the new faces like Dignan in there as well. So it's a tough start, but look, they just got to keep plugging on and just try and nab a result somewhere. Although, look, they're in the tougher division to try and get a result.
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, they definitely got the toughest group out of the 2. They didn't get anyone in the group with them that I realistically can see them beating. So it's just about seeing how well they can compete with these teams, compete with All-Ireland champions and All-Ireland contenders. But for Cork, I mean, last week against Clare, the likes of Kieran Joyce looked brilliant, the guy that we picked out as our number 1 pick as a breakout hurling star in 2022. But in this game, which one's really caught your eye?
Yeah, well, look, it's interesting that you say that. I'm not even fully sure, but Kieran Joyce wasn't even with the squad this week. I don't know if it was rested due to maybe kind of freshers hurling commitments, maybe, but he just wasn't involved this week. So we kind of got in looking at different players, and looked. I think the one that stole the headlines was Mark Keane's inclusion. And look, in the first half, he was played as a traditional full forward, and there was an awful lot of kind of aimless ball that was put in on top of him due to his size, and he kind of struggled with that a little bit. But then the second half, he was moved out to right half forward, where he caught a huge amount of ball. He looked a really good ball winner, and then he knocked over 2 points as well. So that'll be a positive, I think, for Cork. And I think the interesting thing will be to look to see if they're going to be playing Limerick in 2 weeks' time, and if that Kieran Kingston actually plays Mark Keane out in the half forward line against Limerick, or if he kind of holds them back a little bit more, because I'd be really interested to see that he might kind of go with him and see how he'd get on against a team of Limerick's level. So, that's, I think, the major storyline. Other interesting parts, I think Darragh Fitzgibbon looks back to his best form. And as well, when Shane Kingston goes into freeze, he's more involved in the game, and he just seems to be putting up huge kind of tallies when he's involved with taking the freeze as well. So that'll be, I think, one to watch, because I think when Patrick Horgan eventually does move on for his Cork team, I do think he'll be the player to inherit that free taking role.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that you said. I mean, the thing that I find fascinating is you mentioned there about how, Mark Keane will match up against Limerick. You mentioned about Mark Keane's size. Limerick really physically outmatched Cork in the All-Ireland final. They were physically bigger, more powerful. But Mark Keane, you mentioned about the size of him. Even could Kieran Kingston even consider putting Mark Keane in midfield almost to kind of go toe-to-toe with Will O'Donoghue? Because Will O'Donoghue really bullies everyone physically in that midfield area. But, I mean, could someone like Mark Keane be the answer to stopping him?
Yeah, look, it'd be an interesting one. I think the way Cork are going to line up down midfield, I think they might go Fitzgibbon and Joyce, and they might go with pace, like huge amount of pace in midfield, and then they might kind of put a fair bit of size. I think you're going to see Tim O'Mahony and Robert Downey plays the wing backs this year, and Jaron Miller is going to move into fullback, and they're just going to go all out and out size in the half back line, and to support Coleman, that like Coleman lacks that kind of bit of physicality. So if you put 2 lads beside him with that power beside him, like, it should be okay. It should be a nice enough balance. bit of pace in midfield. And then I think in the half forward line, look, I think ideally they want to get somebody like Mark Keane into that half forward line beside Harnedy, and just to get size in that middle third as well. But it just remains to be seen whether this might be a year too soon for Mark Keane. He has all the physical attributes and all the physical tools. There's just some questions about whether he's kind of at the level of hurling to play in the championship right now, or whether that needs to be developed for a little bit longer. So I'll be really interested to watch that game against Limerick, that if they do persist with him. They gave him the full game here against Offaly, so look, they really see a lot in him, and they really want to kind of try him out and see if he can be the answer to Cork's physicality problem. So I think that's the major point to watch. I think for that Limerick game 2 weeks time is if Mark Kane's in that starting 15 and how long he gets and how he gets on.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that it'll be fascinating to see how it plays out. I mean, I'm rooting for him because I'd love to see Cork get up onto Limerick's level and really create a rivalry for the ages, because with Cork's young talent that is coming through, the likes of Kieran Joyce, etc., like, it has the makings of being one of the best rivalries we've ever seen. So I can't wait to see if Cork can close that gap and get onto Limerick's level, because we mentioned earlier that without Keane Lynch, and then if Hegarty gets sent off, Limerick all of a sudden don't look as invincible. So it'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out. But in this game, yeah, Offaly just came up against a different beast, and they went down by 425 to 115 to Kieran Kingston's Cork, and make it 2 wins from 2 and the perfect start to the league campaign for them. Guys, that is the Play On GAA match review of Cork versus Offaly in round 2 of the Allianz Hurling League. We hope you enjoyed it. Keep an eye out for all the content across the channel. Like, subscribe, comment and share. And until the next one, take care.